convenient. You have grown stronger. Your cause hopeless. You shall not escape.
Dripment.
You waste time. How convenient. You have grown stronger. Your cause hopeless. You shall not escape. hopeless. You shall not escape. How convenient.
Oh. What do we do? What do we do? Feedback stream 99. What is going on today? Remember, you can submit tracks for feedback in my Discord. Hashtag live WIP feedback is the section. We'll be doing feedback streams every Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today's a little bit different. It got rescheduled from yesterday, so we're doing it today. We have about 15 tracks loaded up. First in line is Nevrozat, the Stomped VIP 8. It says the drop is short, but it's to showcase 2 different drops. We don't have any plugins right now. That is no problem. I'll be in the chat talking to you guys throughout the stream. Go ahead and say hi. I'll go ahead and put this down here. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. And I'll be able to help you out. Let's go ahead and listen to the first submission. Run it. Sup, Roses? Sup, Triptronics? Sup, Anthony? Let's get it done. streaming live on Twitch and YouTube. You're tuned into 99.9. Pretty cool. Pretty decent flows. The overall sound design, though, like the thickness of the basses, is not really there. You know, they sound a little bit thin, a little bit too wide, not too much in the middle. It almost feels like the sub is by itself in the mono section, while the basses are like spread out. Let's go and listen. So it sounds like there's the lows, which is the sub, and we have like some highs, but only a little bit of mids. There needs to be like a layer that is giving us that low mid grunge frequency. From 100 to 400 hertz, it should be fairly full. Need to be balanced, right? The lows with the sub are big. But if you see right here from 100 to like 400, we have it all up here, but we're like missing frequencies in the middle. And if we had that filled, it would feel fuller. It would not feel as thin as it does right now. Things would be thick. The flow in this is decent. The second flow is better. That's pretty nice. This one gets a little bit repetitive over time. We don't really have much of a fill or a break. It's just like we remove the bass and only play the clap. The sub is still playing though, so it's like everything's still glued together. If the sub bass stopped right here, then it would create a bigger dynamic shift. It'd go from loud to quiet, back to loud when the next phrase hits, and that can add more energy as well. Cool. So upgrade the sound design, make sure you're thicker with your layers. And on top of that, add more basses, create a variety. Right now, we're kind of just repeating the same bass over and over. So maybe have about 3 total basses instead of 1 and mix it up. You know, you got to mix it up like a little smoothie. That's Nevro's at. You know what it is. Stomped VIP 8. Next up in line is Docs. Idle. WIP. Ooh.
Dogs.
All right, cool. This is okay. The timing is kind of all over the place. It's like sometimes we're on time, sometimes we're delayed, sometimes we're off time. It's just kind of all over the place. Like even this section. The timing and transition is pretty sloppy. You know, we want to be keeping the same rhythm the whole time. As soon as that rhythm gets disrupted, we stop dancing, which is a huge issue. We don't want to stop dancing. We need the rhythm to stay intact. And if the rhythm dissipates, there needs to be smooth transitions between the phrases. And right now, it's a little bit off time in these sections. Some sections too, like Yeah, so most of the sections actually are getting pretty repetitive. We're kind of just repeating the same bass over and over. So there's just not enough variation at all. The energy is just going to decrease over time. And then it'll just sound like we already know this bass. There's no more surprises anymore. The whole goal of this dance music is for energy to keep hyping up. Remember, the whole reason we do the bass face is because we get surprise and things hit us really hard. Makes us do the bass face like, oh, damn. So that whole concept of surprising the listener, keeping the energy high, and keeping the music progressing over time is important. Things need to change over time so things stay fresh and new. And then you can go back to the original thing if you've changed it. So you can go back and forth now between sounds. It's going to be important. Otherwise, it'll just sound repetitive and predictable. If we can predict what's happening, then you can ensure that we're not going to be surprised. So those are some big things. Also, you need fills bad. Without fills, it's just the bass. It's just one guy talking the whole time. So it's going to get old, plain and simple. There's no break from the main guy. If there's just one main guy playing, there needs to be a lot of focus on movement in other sections. So like if you kept everything as is, you would need to start changing the sub more, changing the pitch more, and doing anything you can to add as much movement as possible within the 4-bar phrase so that things don't get repetitive and things stay interesting. So just, yeah, keep that in mind. Also, I mean, the overall mixing, like you can hear the sub is so thick and upfront in the face, but our bass it's thin and in the background. It's fine to add effects on the bass and make it wide, but we need to still have a version that's layered in the mono section with the sub. Or we need more layers to make it louder, because right now it's just sounding weak and in the background. It's not full enough. All right, so that hat and the sub are like dry up front in our face in the middle, but then the bass is spread out. So yeah, different things you can improve upon to add more energy, keep more clarity, and just increase the overall vibes of the mix. Nice idea. Very good job. As usual, Doc's coming in with some of that heat. This song up next is broken. You submitted 2 different versions, but both of them were broken, unfortunately. So you might have to resubmit, Manatee, if you are watching right now. Both versions that you sent to me look like this. Even the newer one that you sent. So next in line is Scary Larry. We got an E40, Ain't Talk About Nothing, Scary Larry flip. Oh.
You ain't talking about nothing, nigga. You ain't talking about nothing. You ain't talking about nothing, nigga. You ain't talking about nothing, nigga. You ain't talking about nothing. You ain't talking about. You ain't talking about nothing, nigga. You ain't talking about nothing. You ain't talking about nothing, nigga. You ain't talking about nothing, nigga. You ain't talking about nothing. You ain't talking about.
They ain't talking about shit, she ain't talking bullshit. Put the rifle to your lip, plug it in the post-it. Walk down on my target, empty out the cartridge. Talking all that nonsense, turn this body to a carcass. A little niggas heartless, they push the mind the hardest. Open the sucker up, just like a cat of stalkers. Niggas don't give a fuck, and they are not my artists. Line a nigga up, but they are not the barbers. The black man, I wanna see the black man having chicken. The one man is influenced by the gram, so she scripts. The other man be running it up, big money, he be trick. My left hand be arguing with my right hand when I'm whipping. Choppers under the couches, in the kitchen drawers and cabinets. Serving out public houses, when nerds don't get no passes. Got a blue trap for the mouse, and a shovel for you snakes. When I say behind your back, I say it to your face.
You ain't talking about nothing, nigga. You ain't talking about
All right, cool. E40 ain't talking about nothing. Remix by the Scary Larry. I gotta say, I enjoy when people flip songs. It's one of the most important things, for sure. But when we do it, the timing is everything. If the vocalist is not rapping on time with the song that we're making, then there's going to be two different rhythms playing at the same time, and they compete, and then we can't dance. Things have to be rhythmically on point, and they're not in this song. There's a lot of timing issues going on here, so we're going to check them out. Keep in mind, this is an old song. This was around boom bap time where we weren't making trap music, so things weren't at 140. Things are around 90 to 100. It shows that this BPM is 103 beats per minute. So if we're making a song in 128, which this sounds like a house song, 128 BPM, then E40 is going to be sped up from 103 to 128. He's going to be rapping a lot faster. He could be rapping so fast he starts to sound like a chipmunk, and we have to be aware of this, because if he's rapping too fast, it's going to get to the point where we're not going to be able to understand what he's saying, and it's just going to be like fast and almost a mess.
She script, the other man be running it up, big money, he be trick. My left hand be arguing with my right hand when I'm whipping. Choppers under the couches, in the kitchen drawers and cabinets. Working out public houses, when nerds don't get no passes.
They sound pretty on time right here. The timing isn't that bad, but he's just rapping too fast because he's being warped fast.
She script, the other man be running it up, big money, he be trick. My left hand be arguing with my right hand when I'm whipping. Choppers under the couches, in the kitchen drawers and cabinets.
Technically, it works, but it could be better. It gets bad here when it gets off time.
And a shovel for you snakes. When I say behind your back, I say it to your face.
Right here. So like sections like this.
I say it to your face.
As soon as he starts, E40 stops. And this hook starts. This hook is off time. So these vocals have to be perfect on time. These vocals also. Like, this is the most important part of the song right here. The pre-drop, the transition from build-up to the drop is critical. And he's rapping off time, so even though this is building with 1 BPM, it's like he's rapping in a different BPM on top of it, so there's a lot of tension here. Yeah, so just the timing is all over the place. Even when the 4 to the floor beat starts, the vocals are still slightly off time. So it just feels awkward, and we're not gonna be able to dance to something like that. Especially here, you should be able to tell that this is off time. Now, he may be on time with the metronome, but you may need to shift him left or shift him right so he starts on the right time. Remember, he is rapping to your beat now, so you'll have to shift him and make sure he's in the right placement as well as being on time with the metronome. Two different things that you're going to have to ensure. And then in the drop, it's a little bit muddy, you know. We have a really fat, like mid saw bass, like brrr, competing with the sub. So those frequencies need to be cleaned up so things have space. Otherwise, everything's like competing for space in the frequency spectrum and is getting muddy and not sounding as clean as it could be. Those are going to be really important things that you look into. Let me know if you have any questions or if you need help with any of that. With my students, we're always working on warping. It's one of the most important and one of the hardest things to do in Ableton. So just make sure you keep on practicing. And I know a lot of tricks for warping, so I can help you whenever you need the help, my dog. Next in line, Earthwalker with Skin of a Killer. Okay, let's get it done. Oh. Ignatius. You're the last track now. Sup, Kane? Hey. You emailed it to me. Okay. All right, nice. That's Earthwalker. Skin of a Killer. Bruh, you already know this is an OG song. Eyes on Fire. Just putting this song in here is giving you a lot of points, right? Got Jersey Club. The thing is, though, it's like I'm not feeling the rhythmic bounce that we should be feeling with Jersey Club. Just because the kick is doing the pattern, the boom, 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 that's not giving us the movement we need. Everything that's playing needs to be also moving in that pattern. So like the vocals, for example, they're just being sustained and they're almost removing all the effect that the kick is doing. Imagine if there's a huge side chain on that vocal, and every time the kick played, the vocal would duck down and dip, and then all of a sudden it'd create waves every single time that kick played. That would create movement and create more flow and bounce. Otherwise, right here, it's just a kick playing on top of the vocal. There's not really any movement between the elements. Plus, on top of that, it's super, super quiet. We're at -15. It is ridiculously quiet. So we're not really even at a range where we can really get a lot of energy because it's so quiet. So there's not... There's not a lot of energy because of the volume discrepancy. Plus, we need there to be a bass line. It's almost like the sub is just following the kick. And the sub doesn't stop. You know, there's no break from the sub. So if there was a break, like boom, boom, and then silence, and then back to the sub, boom, boom, then we can go back and forth between sub and no sub, sub and no sub. And it'll add more bounce and groove. You have to be adding as much bounce and groove as possible because we're writing a Jersey Club song here. This is important. You can create a bass line that has more dynamic, so more silence in it, and that also can change in pitch, so you can change the notes in the sub. Maybe use some pitch bends and have the sub start moving even more. The energy is pretty low because of these things. We can also add hi-hats later on in the middle, like offbeat hats. At the beginning of the drop, leave it empty, and then add the hats later on to increase the energy and keep things moving. Otherwise, it's just going to, the energy is going to decrease over time. You have to slowly add elements to keep things progressing and keep the energy increasing as the drop goes. It sounds like you add more chords here, which almost sound like they're clashing with the original song. Yeah, they sound like completely different vibes, like almost like super happy, islandy almost. So it's like it completely changes vibe and feeling as soon as these chords fill. It just doesn't feel like it matches fully. It feels a little bit abrupt in the way we transition. Like maybe if you started the song like this and, you know, we're showing us something new and different, it'd make more sense. But the whole transition to this just makes it feel abrupt. So think about transitions, think about getting things flowy. This is pretty cool. It's important you get this louder. Like literally all you have to do is add a compressor. Glue compressor is really good. We're going to look at the LUFS real quick while we do this. Now, like it should at least be here in the single digits at -9. If you turn it off, this is what we were at. So you see we're pulling up all the existing frequencies, making things bright, full, clear, and much more presentable. So just make sure you're compressing. It's important that you get things loud. We want to see these dynamics. Things are real small and tight. Things need to be pumped up. We got to pump up that jam. Make it look something like this, you know, over here. Get a little bit of that jam. So yeah, Earthwalker. Nicely done. Nicely done. Skin of a killer. Next in 9. Halden 2025 Russ Race by Jagger Youngin. Lord have mercy. All right, so Ignatius said, intended to have that one submitted in the next week intake. My bet if you're going to do one, I'd withdraw dub 2 for dub 1. You said you emailed me. You said you emailed me it? Is that right? Okay. Not too sure why you emailed it to me. Just delete the link and upload a new one or update the file for SoundCloud. But if it wasn't working, then I'm going to get yours in right now. Okay. All right, brought it in. Next in line. Jaeger. Wait, was it Jaeger? Jaeger Youngin. Oh, boy. Nicely done. Held in 2025. Russ Race by Jaeger Yangen. Jaeger Yangen? Is that right? Jaeger Youngen. Shit. Cool. This mix is clean. You know, we're loud. Things are clear. We're full in the frequency spectrum. There's no muds and no harshness. So things are sounding nice and clean. The overall energy is pretty good and the songwriting is nice. The music theory is on point. So things make sense. All the phrases and the arrangement all work together, which is really good. It honestly seems like the only thing we're really missing is vocals. This intro is like respace 80%, and then maybe 20% we have like this lower volume lead on top. So it's basically like we only have a bass line, and it seems empty. It seems like we don't have a main lead. The lead could be a vocal lead, some girl or guy singing, some girl or guy rapping, or a synth lead, like a strong polyphonic lead with a long tail. Dun, 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 dun. You know, just anything that's supporting this bass line. Even when we get here, it's pretty empty. We could have like, a vocal build up, like don't turn up, don't turn up the boom boom, like vocal build. There's many different things we can add in here to add more energy. The more tension that we can create in this build up, the stronger this drop will feel. It'll be released. When I get to the drop too, it seems like we could probably work on more call and response here. Let's check it. Yeah, so like as soon as the drop starts, it moves almost too quickly. So it's like within like 2 bars, or maybe within 1 bar, we have it boom, 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 boom. But it feels like boom, 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 boom. We need to go and add a bass that's moving slower. So you see how the rhythm is just going fast the whole time? Boom, 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 boom. If we slow it down at the beginning of the phrase, boom, 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 and go back and forth between a slow and a fast rhythm, it's going to add even more energy, more bounce, and it'll sound even more jiggy with it, you know? You hear how this bass comes in, that sustain bass right here. Usually that would be at the beginning. So like, brah, brah. So it gets loud right at the beginning, and then it gets quiet, and gets loud again, and then gets quiet. But here it just like goes fast, gets loud, goes fast. So there could definitely be an improvement in the dynamic shifts that are happening. It will increase more movement. Everything right here is obviously fine as is, but there are things that you can do to definitely increase energy. And all this is the same like as the intro. It sounds pretty empty without like a vocal lead or something. Synth lead or vocal lead, very important. It will really take this song to the next level. It'll keep people coming back over and over again. If they can connect to those emotions, game over. Nicely done. Good job, Jaeger Youngen. Next, we have a beast. Up next, Goat Dubs, Pain, from Memories EP. Let's go.
If you are constantly avoiding pain, then pain is running your life.
Lord have mercy. Pain. Oh, with the pain. Let's go dubs. Coming in with the pain on the Memories EP. This is pretty cool. Pretty nice. Heavy. Seems a little bit off on the second drop. Like when we add all this melodic content. All that melodic content playing with it, it sounds definitely off. It sounds almost out of key. Or maybe you're like choosing the wrong notes or something. Maybe it's being frequency shifted in a way that's taking us into the wrong note. Anything like that. But it doesn't sound like we're in harmony right here. And it sounds like there's extra tension and dissonance being created, which makes it hard to even listen to this section. It does not sound like that in the first drop. Those melodic elements they fit much better in this drop. It does get repetitive halfway through though. Keeping the same rhythm, it's just not as interesting. I really recommend that you switch it up halfway through this drop. The smallest switch up, the smallest variation in tone can go a very long way. So just make this other half a little bit more different so that it sounds new, it's surprising, and we can keep it going all the way to the end of the drop. I think... this section sounds a little bit almost like muffled, not as much compression, sounds like not as clear as it should be. So maybe add some compression, pull up these frequencies, use EQ, boost the high frequencies, and make sure that it's just more balanced here. Sounds like a lot of mids, some lows, and not enough highs. Otherwise, this is nice, heavy, super stacked, super fat. Cool. Nicely done. Go to dubs. Max Pack is up next. Coming in with that house shit. Oh shit today. Max Pack. House shit. Let's go. Run it back now. This is Batman. Marijuana Batman.
Don't let it go, even if it falls
Oh, did the tag at the end. Ah, you fucked them up with that one. That's how shit by Max Pack. You don't put a vocal tag at the end of your song. Who are you and what are you doing? Plain and simple. That's how shit. This is pretty fun, pretty good. It actually went by pretty fast, you know? Lots of changes and variations and progression throughout the song, which is nice. The vocals are doing a lot of heavy lifting, you know? It seems like the only thing that really needs to be focused on right away is mixing and getting things bigger and louder and pump. You got to pump up the jam. So if we look at the overall volume,
Don't let it go. Don't let it go. Oh, you are the key. The place I
we're at -8. So we actually have good volume for the full mix. But the way things are mixed, the way things are balanced with each other feels off. So like the drums, for example, feel weak. Feels like they need compression. They need to be bigger and fatter. That kick, dude, is really everything with this. House music is all about that kick.
still have my heart. Don't
Almost sounds like the kick is being drowned and lost in the mix.
apart. Still have
Sidechain compression is huge. We need to make sure it's perfect. Sample choice for the kick needs to be perfect. We need some thick, low end on the kick.
still have my heart. Don't let it go. Don't let it
Yeah, you might not be sidechaining enough, honestly, or sidechaining at all. Make sure you're sidechaining your kick to everything. That kick should be by itself every time it plays, and everything will duck in volume because you bow down to the kick.
still have my heart. Don't let it go. Don't
A lot of the other sounds, like the ARP and the vocals, they are playing a lot of lower mid frequencies that can compete with everything else. So when this bass line is playing, it should be a little bit louder. It should be controlling from 0 to like 200, maybe even 300 hertz. And then all the other sounds need to bow down to the sub now. You got to EQate everything to fit with your low frequencies. Lastly, when you're in sections like this, where there's a lot of high frequencies playing, there's a lot of elements playing at the same time, a lot of the same frequencies playing at the same time. And because of that, they're competing for space in the mix. We have to use a lot of EQ when it comes to this many elements playing at the same time. You choose which one you want front and center. Which one do you want the spotlight? That one can play all of its frequencies, but the other ones we have to start carving and reducing frequencies using EQ so that everything can play and fit together. We don't want it to sound harsh. We don't want things to sound like they're squished in one space. They need to have room to breathe. You can make dips. You can make cuts. You can do anything you need to and to start opening up space for other elements in the mix. And it's going to help a lot. With the bass line, use saturation on the sine wave to get that louder and thicker and fuller, and it will help a lot.
falls apart. Take me from the place I wanna be.
The vocals sound almost too wet.
The place I wanna be.
Now, I think it's fine with the amount of reverb that's on there, but we need to reintroduce the old dry mono vocal and have both of them play at the same time. The strong mono presence of the vocal up front and center, and then that super wet, reverbed, wide vocal supporting the mono version. Both of those playing in parallel together will ensure like a really full, loud, thick, and professional sounded vocal. That is house shit by Max Pack. Nicely done, dude. Nicely done. That's Batman swinging on that gun. Next in line, Phantom, The Depths Awaken, version 2. Let's go. Lazy, what it do, my boy? Yeah, if you're listening on your phone, it's going to sound pretty harsh, maybe thin. A lot of these songs aren't fully finished mixed yet, so headphones are best. It should sound good everywhere if it's finished, mixed and mastered. These songs are like works in progress, so.
Sonar contact. Bearing 237. 150 meters. 100 meters. Look at the fucking size of that thing!
Hey, what it do, Dickie? Hey. It's the motherfucking Wrangler. Hey. Survive in the deepest depths of the ocean. The anglerfish is a straight OG and has a light upon its piece.
This is what happens when you try to play God. Don't you see? This is what happens when you try to play God.
God. That's pretty cool. Damn, what a journey, right? The depths awaken? Shit, you would have never known it was awake. All right. I kind of felt like the Angler Wrangler while listening to this, but only during certain sections. I turned into the Angler Wrangler, and then all of a sudden I turned into a goddamn colossal squid that was yelling and screaming. And all of a sudden we lost some of the wubs. What's really important is dynamics. When it gets loud and then gets quiet and then gets loud again, that feeling is almost psychedelic, right? We start to get lost in the sound. We need things to have curves. Everything good in life has curves. Straight lines are not the way to go. Straight lines are unnatural in nature. So we're going to compare two different sections, some that are curved, some that are straight lines. Let's check out the curves. Got some nice curves. You can even see them right here. Okay, over here, we're losing the curves. It's becoming more aggressive, more abrasive, become more straight lines. So everything was feeling nice and good while we were wubbing and moving. Sounded like we were in the ocean, but as soon as we got here, it got too aggressive. This loud bass is playing too long, too. We don't take a break from it. So it's just loud, aggressive bass this whole time. And it really doesn't contrast well with what was played before it. It seems a bit off-putting. these fills are too short. The fills need to start when the snare hits or the clap. Right when that clap hits, the basses stop, and that's where you do the fill. So your fill needs to be half a bar in length. You're only doing a beat in length, which is way too short. Because of how aggressive these basses are, we have to take a break every once in a while. So work on getting these basses wubbier. Use an auto filter. You can automate the auto filter to wub with the sound so that we can control the frequencies, and then make your fills bigger and longer so that makes sense. See how this fill? That's a proper fill. We need all the fills to be like that. Okay, so we need more dynamics. It needs to be going curvature. Those waves are really important that we keep during the end of the drop. Second drop feels a bit random. We need a bit more structure here. Work on call, response, fill. You can't just randomly play basses one after another, or else it's going to feel sporadic and random. There needs to feel like there's some structure and patterns so that we can go back and forth, and it'll make a lot more sense that way. Lots of new basses play one after another, and it's almost like they don't live in the same family. We really want to avoid making it sound like you're just playing one preset after another preset. So less is more. Slow things down, keep things simple, and try not to overdo it, because it really is sounding like you went a little bit too crazy on this second drop.
This is what happens when you try to play God.
This stuff right here, I think, is your specialty. These wubs with the atmospheric reverb in the back and the hats, it feels really nice. Focus on more feeling like this, I think will take you in a good direction, and don't try to get as aggressive, you know. We save the distortion and the straight lines for the rhythm and the tear out. For all this freeform spiritual wub bass, we want to gotta keep them curves, man. Keep them curves. Hit me up if you need help, if you have any questions about that. I'll be able to help you. DM me on Instagram or Discord, guys, and I do lessons all the time. So if you need a 1v1, just let me know. Next in line is going to be Type 8 with Bubba's Moment. Give me one moment. I will be right back, and we shall continue. All right, you're tuned in to 99.9 Bubba's Moment. Let's go. My bad. Lazy has two eyes.
Yeah.
great now, but it's much improved. Your album dropping this summer, that sucks for you, cause this is Bubba's moment. I put my mother on it, I said my mom, and it seems as if I love her, don't it? So buckle up, cause it's gonna get bumpy.
That's what you got, baby.
Lazy has 3 eyes. Boom, boom. Hey. Bubba. Lazy has 2 eyes and lazy has 2 I. You only have 1 moment. In that moment's Bubba's. Exactly. Cool. Nicely done. Nicely done. That's Bubba's Moment by Type 8. That was pretty cool. We have some Wubberton. Wubberton the second came out to play. There are some things here that are taken away from the energy. Things seem a little bit repetitive. But you did well with the call and response structure. So you going from the yoy, and then the fast thing. And then a fill at the end. That's cool. This fill, though, is still a bass. So the whole point of the fill is like to take a break from the basses. So it's like yoy, which is the call. Then the response is here, right when the first snare hits. Right when the last snare hits, the fill starts. But you put a bass instead. We need like a vocal or a percussion fill. We need something that's not sub and bass anymore so that we can go back and forth from bass to a break from the bass. It's like a little fill. And then we go back to the yoy. So work on that. Make sure the fill is taking a break from all the loud basses and it'll add more impact. Unfortunately, we are doing the same speed 400 times in a row. So it gets super, super repetitive. We really can't do this. We have to keep things changing and moving almost every phrase, which is every 4 bars, or every other phrase. So maybe the first 2 can stay the same, and then the last 2 can be different. Or maybe all 4 can be different. But all 4 of them being the same speed is just not going to work out. It's not going to be new anymore or surprising on the second, third, and fourth phrase. So the energy will just go down. If you just change the speed, so like slow it down. Right now we're in like 16th, I think. You slow it down to 1/8, or you start doing triplets, 1/8 triplet or 1/4 triplet. You have all these other speeds that are really good to use that will make people go crazy once they hear it. So you want to be automating the speed of your bass and make it change in different phrases. Additionally, in your first drop, you have like some chords playing in the background. Those chords are gluing the drop and your intro together, which is good, but these chords are being sustained and they're interfering with how fast this is moving. If this is moving fast, the chords behind it should be moving fast as well. I can show you quickly how you would do this. So let's say I found like some chords. I need like something like this. So once you have your chords, and you need them to move, you add an auto pan. Usually yours is going to look like this. Turn the amount all the way up. Turn the rate to 1/16, which is your speed, and turn the phase all the way down. And the offset usually needs to be at 180, like this. Or you can click normal to invert it. This will make it move to the speed that you want. So you need to be using this on your chords so that the background chords will be going the same speed as your basses, and it will add more dynamics. It'll just be crazier. Make sure that happens. And then in the second drop, this main bass is too dry. Sounds like there's no reverb or delay on it. Just make sure it sounds a little bit wetter, and it sounds too basic. Almost it's like just one wave coming out of Serum. The LFOs in Serum need to be adding movement, and every time that thing plays, it should sound like it's moving and growing and evolving or breathing. Right now, it's a little bit too dry, too static, too basic, just not enough movement. So the second drop, a little bit lackluster. Could definitely increase the sound design layers and increase the amount of modulation that you're doing in the LFOs in Serum. And lastly, this section, it's -14 left, so it's way too quiet. You want to make sure that you're compressing these sections so that they get into the single digits and that it's loud enough to be played with the drop as well. Your drop's loud at -6, and then it gets super quiet to -14. So that's just too big of a difference. We want to make sure that -14 gets louder. Undoubtedly. Okay. That's about it. Otherwise, nicely done. You really love to see it. You really do. Good job, Type 8. Novixium is up next with the Reflect WIP 3. We have an eyeball. We have a Galaxy eyeball. You don't know nothing about Galaxy eyeballs. Go. No problem, Type 8. Glad I can help, man. must say, you are real nice at making some super soft, luscious feeling vibes. Like, this outro felt so good. So clean, so soft, so gentle. Very nice. It is so soft and gentle that when we get to your drop, it becomes like a whole different thing. I had to actually turn it down when the drop happened. So I would like turn it up so I could listen to this. But then as soon as the drop came, it got really loud. It became very harsh, and it became very difficult to monitor the song at a high level. I had to turn it down a lot just to listen to it. So those are going to be some big mixing issues that we want to adjust. The amount of compression may be too much. You may be turning it up too much with your compressors. So dial the compressors back, make sure they're not being pumped too loud. I can see right here that we're having issues because of how bricked the waveform is starting to look. It's starting to become a straight line, which is an issue. Dynamics is everything. Okay. The only reason why we're feeling the vibes and getting all this energy is because there's a clear difference between loud and quiet. Everything is not being aggressively sent into our ears. There's like waves and dynamics. When we hit this last drop, we kind of remove all those waves and dynamics. It becomes a straight line. It's really, really important that when you have this many songs playing at the same, this many elements or tracks playing at the same time, that they're all being EQ'd individually so that they all can fit together. Just one of these sounds by itself could be loud enough to stand out on its own, let alone all of them together. It becomes very congested, it becomes muddy, becomes harsh, and we don't want it to sound like that. We need it to sound clean. Once you're getting very, very loud, you have to be very careful because your song to begin with shouldn't even be this loud. It's -3 LUFS, so it is super, super loud. It's as loud as a tear out song, and you're not at all making heavy Lost Lands tear out. This is like melodic, harmonic, almost future bassy, hybrid trappy. It needs to be in the single digits, but around like -6 LUFS, maybe -4. But for us to get as loud as -3, it's just way, way too much. So you want to turn down saturators, turn down compressors, turn down track volumes, and really start to mix these things in together so that things can sound clean and like they fit together. Because right now things are competing for the space and it's becoming an issue. Dynamics is important. So this whole drop, you see, we don't take a break. Like, see how we take a break right here and it gets quiet? Stuff like this needs to be happening during the drop. It should be loud, then get quiet for a little bit, and then get back loud, then quiet for a little bit. But if we're just loud the whole time, our ears are going to get really used to it, and it's not going to be as surprising as it would be if you kept going back and forth between loud, quiet, loud, quiet. You add more movement that way. Make sure that your drop is like around -6 to -4 LUFS. Use a lot of EQ to dip or cut unwanted frequencies. You can download the plugin Soothe that will automatically reduce harsh frequencies for you, and it will be a huge help. And then lastly, you need to make sure these transitions are on point. You kind of end this drop and just go straight into a build-up, so it feels very random. It does not transition well here. Yeah, like the pitch just starts going up all the way. We get out of the scale. There's a lot more tension being created. This buildup comes pretty randomly. So there should be like another 4 bars in between these two sections to help transition in between these two phrases. So keep that in mind. It's going to help a lot. I think that's about it. Your intro and your outro sounded really nice. You just got to work on the drop. The drops. They're a lot louder. They're a lot more complex and complicated. Hit me up if you need any help, if you have any questions, man. I got you. Good job. Felt nice. Next up, we have a little bit of Jabari Fish. The Days. Jabari Fish Flop. Dude, the flip is now the flop. Run it.
Do you think about the days when we sat down smoking wine and drinking hazel?
Got you. Let's see him. Gotta hide more.
We'll sit the other way. Swing round, come on, chill with me. I got your favorite show recorded on my TV, but we don't have to watch that, no. I'll turn off the radio. So won't you pick up, then we can link up. It's not a hookup. Don't think about it too much, too much. You just need to pick up, then we can link up. Don't think about it too much, too much. Do you think about the days when we sat down smoking wine and drinking hazel? We sit the other way. We sit the other way. Swing round, come on, chill with me. I got your favorite show recorded on my TV, but we don't have to watch that, no. I'll turn off the radio. So won't you pick up, then we can pick up. It's not a hookup. Don't think about it too much, too much. You just need to pick up, then we can link up. Don't think about it too much, too much. Do you think about the days when we sat down smoking wine and drinking hazel? We sit the other way. We sit the other way. Swing around, come on, chill with me. I got your favorite show recorded on my TV, but we don't have to watch that, no. I'll turn off the radio. So won't you pick up, then we can pick up. It's not a hookup. Don't think about it too much, too much, too much.
Pretty nice. Pretty cool. Nice vocal. The vocal sounds a little bit off time in some sections, but overall, sounds pretty good.
Sat down smoking.
These ARPs and all these fast sounds, all these bubbly digital sounds is really cool. This one specifically sounds the best, I think.
We sit the other way. Swing around, come on, chill with me. I got your favorite show recorded on my TV, but
The only thing about this is that you are not adding any fills. So it's like the ARPs play for so long and they don't stop. Like when this snare hits, it needs to stop. Or like at the end here, when that last snare hits, it needs to stop. Because we need it to be quiet here. Every 4 bars or every 8 bars, there should be a break, a fill, a place where it can get quiet. Otherwise, it's just going to be loud the whole time. And we need dynamics. It's going to add more energy, more danceability. So make sure that you focus on your fills. This fake out here, it almost sounds like the drop, but it's like the drop is missing the sub. So it doesn't sound like a fake out, but I know it's supposed to be. So what you need to do is you need to add like a filter or a washout or a reverb swell, anything where you can automate the effects so that this section feels like frequencies are removed. And then the closer we get to the drop, which is right here when the sub plays, the closer we get to there, then we automate and get closer to the dry signal. So like I can show you the bass clef washout. This is the main one. You should get this one. This is one all the artists use all the time. So you can have it washed out a little bit right when it starts, like this. So it starts wet, and then the closer we get to the drop, it gets drier and drier, and then boom, right when the drop hits, it's completely dry. The sub then comes in, and we're just, rising and creating more movement and a better transition from the fake out to the drop. You remove the snare here, which I think you're going to need. This snare is what we're dancing to. It's commanding. It's the start of this fill. So without the snare, it's not as good of a transition as it could be. See how you did your fill right on the snare here? That's how we want to be doing it.
Swing round, come on, chill with me. I got your favorite. So
Now listen to all the sounds in the mix. The sub is like and kind of in the back. Everything else is playing and it's loud, and the sub kind of takes a back seat in the mix. If your sub was more dominant in the mix and maybe balanced with everything else, or maybe a little bit louder than everything else, it would feel more like bass music and we would get more lost in the sound. The sub is important. Make sure you EQ all of the low mid frequencies and all your low frequencies so that your sub can live. You can cut at 100 or you can cut at 175. And you can test different areas so you can let in more space and allow more space for the sub to breathe. That'll help, undoubtedly. But I think that's about it. Nice song, dude. I don't know where you got those vocals from, but it's a vibe. Nicely done. Nicely done. That's the Jabari Fish Flop. Kane up next. Bender. Oh, yes. Let's go. Uh-oh.
Gain. Gain.
All right, we got a song with a dominant sub. This sub is big fire and just taking control. Listen to that sub. That is one of the main things we need, is the sub. But your mid basses are not sounding clean, not sounding clear, sounding muddy. And it really sounds like multiple layers are like squished into the middle in mono. And it doesn't sound like they have any room to breathe. There's one little section of this song where the basses get wide just for a little bit. right there. So like, it's wide only like in this little section. Otherwise, everything feels mono. I made a video about Space Wizard and his basses just being mono, but that doesn't work every single time. You have to really finagle and finesse your EQ if you want things to just be in the middle. Plus, you have to add something else that will compensate for the sides. Right now, it seems like it's really congested in the mono area in the middle. The basses will be best if there's the mono and stereo playing at the same time, and then you mix those two together so that they are presentable and full within the stereo image, wide and mono. Your flows are pretty dirty. The switch ups and all the different changes and variations you have are really nice. You do need fills though. So at the end of 4 bars or at the end of 8 bars, there needs to be some type of fill, a vocal fill, a break. If you have that, it'll add more energy. It'll add even more pizzazz. One big thing that needs to be worked on is the timing of these transitions here. So check this. This came in very abrupt. It seems like the timing was off and it didn't really feel right. So let's go ahead and check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so just listen in context. This is your first 4-bar phrase. The fills would happen at the last clap of the 4 bars. So right here. So it'd be like boom, boom. Cane. You know what I mean? Snare, cane. It's not no more basses anymore. It gets quiet. You hit the snare, cane, cane. Then we go back and forth. Those would be the fills. That's the first 4 bars. That's the second. That's the third. And then now, right here. Technically it works, but the transition from this, like we're expecting this to continue, but it just like stops kind of randomly, pretty abruptly. So that the whole transition, even though the timing is right, like it's 2 bars, but the feeling that we get when it transitions is off. So you want to do something, maybe add some more risers, maybe some down sweeps, maybe add an extra 2 bars of time. Do anything you can to make that transition as best as possible. I think that's about it. Oh yeah, the whole song is too quiet. It's about -8. You should be at like -6, maybe -5. So if you tried to DJ this song next to any of your other favorite songs, yours would sound significantly quieter. It would have lower energy because of that. And there'd just be a lot of issues. So make sure that you're compressing, you're saturating, and you're turning up individual tracks so that we can get to a little bit louder level. -9 and -8 is a little too quiet. We want to be -6, -5. And even if you need to, you can push to like -4, -3, as long as you're staying clean while being that loud. It's all about that EQ, baby. It's all about that EQ. Good job, Kane. What you love to see. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the next submission. We got Rose Covered Gas Mask coming in with Slap. Let's run it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
All right, cool. That is Rose Cover Gas Mask coming over that slap. So this is pretty decent. The only thing is that we have some harsh and muddy frequencies coming from your main, this main bass. It's really loud. It doesn't seem like there's much EQ going on. So we need to remove and dip down in the muddy frequencies, 100 to 300 hertz, and make sure that we're layering properly. So if we keep layering unwanted frequencies, it'll get harsh. It's hard to listen to this at a high volume. So there's definitely some EQ help that needs to be done right away. We do need a little bit more structure. It seems a little bit sporadic the way the basses are moving from phrase to phrase. Kind of sounds like every new phrase or section could be different. And we need some type of pattern, some type of familiarity. We don't want to be repetitive, but we need things to feel like they live in the same song. So just listen to how much movement is going on in the first couple bars. So everything's like going round, going pretty fast. We can slow things down. We can go slow and then fast, slow, fast. And then we need to have some type of fill or break at the end. So right when this happens, this last snare, basses should stop. There should be a fill or a break. Then we can get into the next phrase. But listen, your basses are moving so much. It's like it's breathing and moving. And this happens right at the start. There should be another bass to say, hey, and then this one starts moving. So like, rah, dum, 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 dum. So we go from slow to fast rhythmically. In sections like this where we build it up, add a sub bass. We want there to be sub, like boom, the sub drop. Because in the club, we're going to want to be filling the bass while this is building up. When it gets to this section, there's too many different sounds playing, too many rhythms playing. It becomes very congested. And it's hard to focus on just one element. Way too much happening at the same time. So keep it simple. Less is more. You do not have to have this many things playing. It's not going to really add extra energy. It's just going to keep things a little bit confused when we need things to be presentable. So remember, only one bass should really have the spotlight. All the other basses should just be supporting that bass. If multiple basses try to take the spotlight of the show, then yeah, you already know. It's going to be like multiple people screaming, and we can't even hear any of them. Yeah, and the same thing goes for here. It's just a lot of movement, not too much structure. We really want to simplify things. There could be a lot of movement, but there should also be sections where it's simple, and then we go to complex, go back to simple. If things are moving too much, we need to make sure that there is like a strong story being told. We don't want to move things just to move things. You want them to move with flavor, with purpose. I think that's about it. It's one of the better songs I've heard from you. So good job, Roses. Keep up the work. Keep on learning. You love to see it. You really do. Nice job. Flipper's up next. Flipper would have stayed back. HBO original, The Penguin. You're wild. Sup, Scrim TV? Scrimp TV? She.
No, stay back. No, stay back.
Hey. Manatee. Flipper. Hey, organisms. I'm a penguin, I go flip, flop, flipper on a floppy disk. Flipping while I flop. Penguin flips. Penguin socks. Hey.
No, stay back.
Hey. Hey. Pum, 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 pum.
No, stay back.
Okay, cool. Sorry. Ignatius, I got this email from Apologetic. I thought this was you. My bad. Let me double check. So I swear you messaged me and said that you wanted me to do your most recent submission. So I was going to do that dub 002. But if you need me to do the golden flask, then I can do that too. That's the one you want, right? The golden flask. Let me know. All right, I need to re-listen to this.
No, stay back.
The mixing on this is very clean. It's a little bit basic though, you know? Not the mix, but just like what's happening in the drop. This happens for a long time, about 16 bars. Dynamics are really good, mixing is really good, but over time, this is just going to get repetitive. We're barely changing it up right here, so it's just not enough differences. We're not getting surprised as much as we should. Like this should happen probably after the first 8 bars. So like 8 bars slow, next 8 bars fast, other 8 bars slow, other 8 bars fast. That would make a lot more sense. But it's like every 16 bars, we're splitting the 2 different rhythms. So it kind of takes too long for the next energy section to come. There's only like water droplets and stuff, so it's a little bit empty in the intro and the breakdown. We really need like a lead, synth lead, vocal lead. And the second drop is going to need the same treatment as the first drop. Kind of go back and forth between every 8 bars rather than 16 bars. Kind of looks like you did here. 8 bars. And the next 8 bars are a little different. The tone and the timbre changes. The pitch changes a little bit, you know, but the rhythm stays the same. So we're still dancing the same way. Keep in mind that the hat is pretty quiet, which is the only thing that's going 4 to the floor. That hat is the only thing making us dance regular time. Otherwise, the basses are going half time. So if you get that hat more dominant in the mix, it will keep things moving faster as well while the basses are going half time. Sections like this too also need breaks and fills. If the bass is just playing the whole time, you can guarantee that it's going to get old after a while. So every 4 bars, this is your fill section. Now you are doing a fill, but it's like still basically a bass. It's not quiet enough. It's not like a break. So it's like loud, and it's still loud even in the fill. We go back to loud. We need to be loud and then quiet. So instead of any basses or lasers or wubs, we just need it to be like a vocal or percussion, something minimal. So we can go from bass to something that's not a bass and then back to the bass. That will add a lot more energy, a lot more movement. That is going to be very helpful, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. All right, cool. Then we have about 2 more submissions left. This is Manatee's remix of Crystal Notion Dennett, The Days. Let's go ahead and check that out right here. Where is it here? Right here. The Manatee. I'm going to delete this since you're not going to be in the next one. This is your submission for this stream. Let's see here. God, I am lost in the sauce up in here, right now. Okay, cool. And let me just double check. I know which one you want me to play. Golden Flask is all I ask. And I just meant to update file on the prior sub. Okay, cool. I got your Golden Flask. We're going to put it in. Let's go ahead and get it done. Manatee up next. Run it.
sit the other way. Sit the other way. Swing round, come on, chill with me. I got your favorite show recorded on my TV. We don't have to watch that I'll turn off the radio. Make up, no need to make up. Let's not hook up. Don't think about it too much, too much. We just need to make up, then we can make up. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much. Don't think about it too much, too much, too much, too much.
Pretty nice, pretty good. 99.9. Where there's the manatee. Cool. That's done. Okay, so we have a pretty decent remix. This is a pretty good song, the original song. The only thing is like the way this is mixed, the vocals are playing full blast, and like our basses that you made are like behind the scenes. They're like in the background. While the vocals are up front. It really should be the opposite. Your basses need to be up front with the spotlight during the drop, and the vocals during the drop need to be mixed in a way that they're in the background, that they're not taking the spotlight from the basses. In the intro, the vocals should be the spotlight. But in the drop, it should change. Your main bass here is pretty static. It's not moving too much. There's not a lot of changes going on with it over time. So the energy of the whole drop is pretty low. There's not enough fills, so the main bass is getting repetitive over time and it's losing its energy. And there's not enough fills to take us back and forth between the bass and something else. If you add more extra supporting layers to the bass, it'll add more energy, get things louder in certain sections. Like you can add supporting melodic elements or supporting basses. Feels like this are good. But you can leave the snare in here. You don't have to remove the snare. The snare is what we're dancing to, so it'll help if you keep the snare here. There should be another fill right here. It should just be the vocal by itself, TV, but wash out. Like these fills are the only section that we have to make their more energy. We need to make as much energy as possible when the first phrase transitions to the next phrase. Every 4 bars is your phrase. So just like you did here, how you remove the basses, we got to do here too. Should be happening every 4 bars. And instead of the vocals being up front and center, do more work on the sound design, layer that bass more, add more movement with modulation within your synthesizer. Use your LFOs and really start to make that sound design the most important part. Because this is a remix at the end of the day, and we need you to be showcasing your talent and not just letting the vocal do most of the work here. The vocal is awesome. Trust me, it's amazing. But we want to be able to see you flex. It's time for you to go hard in the paint. Show what you got. I like these webs at the end. Very nice. Just add fills, man. Add fills. Every 4 bars should be call response fill. You need to have a lot of movement so that we can dance as much as possible, undoubtedly. No clue how to properly mix vocals. First I'm using acapella. How do you put the vocal in the back? Cool. So right now the vocals as is are up front and center because they're mono. They should be loud and processed professionally from the original song. But in your drop, you'll have a separate vocal track with a completely different EQ settings. And this EQ is going to be carving out frequencies. So let's say vocal loop. Let's get like a random vocal loop here. So like this has all the frequencies playing. you'll get your EQ, and you need to start removing and reducing frequencies with dips and cuts. So grab number 3. You want to turn down around 1,000 hertz, which is where all the harshness is. You can get number 4 and start removing some highs. And we're just reducing the amount of frequencies playing. Even do it with the low cut too. So you're like carving out all these frequencies so that all the other sounds can take control. Also, additionally, you can spread it out in the stereo image. So right now it's perfectly mono, or you can make it wide. So then all the basses will be in the middle, and then all of a sudden our vocals will spread out and be wide, so it has its own little space on the sides rather than being in the middle competing with all the big dubstep basses. Multiple different ways you can do this, but yeah, just try to listen to reference tracks and try to imagine what they're doing. Take B's really good at this. He's a good one to look at, so I'll definitely do that. Hit me up if you have any questions. Manatee can help you. Ignatius says, yo, Drip, I can tell that file is an old one by the file name. Sorry to bug you again. Thought I'd mention. Appreciate the insight. I got you, Manatee. Glad I can help, man. You said it's Ignatius. What are you talking about? If you updated the file, then this is the latest one. I'm confused. What do you want me to download here? Do you not want to listen to this one, or what do you need? Just give me a couple moments, guys. I'm trying to see if this is a good one. Perhaps not just try to download it. It should be the Golden Flask Mastered. Well, if you didn't update this, then this isn't going to change, like the name of it. But the file name is probably changed. Like if you go to edit and look at the file that you uploaded, is probably your changed file. But this track name won't change unless you manually change it. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I downloaded it right before the stream. Okay. Okay, let's do it.
Headshot.
Headshot.
Sit down, stand up, pass out,
Wake up. Uh-oh.
wake up.
Looking to make a bounce soon. See the crowd mood changing by the minute. Somebody said to me, alright, you right, okay. One shot goes for 100 shots, bang. How about
Do you bang?
2 shot goes for 200 shots, bang. See the crowd mood changing by the minute. Somebody said to me,
Headshot. Sit down.
Stand up, pass out, wake up,
Faded. Yeah. Hennessy shots. Faded. Faded. We got some soundscapes, atmosphere vibes. You're tuned in to 99.9. This song is always, I always love listening to this song, honestly. The mix, though, has to be super, super clean for this to be perfect, you know? Right now, it's a little bit muddy. There's some sections that sound like they're clipping, that they're distorting. And we really don't want it to be like that. We need the sub to be as loud and clean as possible. And we also need there to be more high frequencies just in the mix. It seems like the low mids and the lows are loud and proud, but the amount of high frequencies is minimal. It just doesn't seem as balanced as it should be. So we're going to do a couple checks here with a little bit of EQA. I want to hear what your song sounds like if there was like no sub.
headshot. Sit down, stand up, pass out.
Look at the frequency spectrum over here. Maybe we can use a Pro Q. Make this a little bit easier, a little bit bigger. So frequency spectrum.
Headshot. Sit down, stand up, pass out, wake up.
So the only things that are really doing the highs are the hi-hats.
Headshot. Sit down, stand up, pass out, wake up. Fade.
So like the middle
Headshot. Sit down, stand up.
could be a little bit louder, and the highs, instead of it just being hi-hats, we can add a little bit of the vocals to occupy the highs. So like all the Kendrick vocals, maybe do a high shelf, turn up the highs so that the vocals can start occupying the range with the hi-hats too.
Headshot. Sit down, stand up.
And then we're going to check your sub to see if it's actually too much or just enough. We're going to measure it. We want to see basically how many lufs it is. We're going to cut it right at 100. And we'll add a Swiss Army meter to measure. Cool. So it looks like the sub is at a good level. Really, it's all these frequencies from 100 to about 300. We're going to look at these instead. So we're going to change it to a low cut. We're going to add another one, change this to a high cut. See all these frequencies right here? These are what's starting to add up, and it's becoming muddy. So all these frequencies need to be adjusted, turned down, and fixed, and that will allow more room for your sub. It'll be less muddy, and then all these mids and highs will be able to blend better in the mix. So we really have to adjust from 100 to about 220 hertz. These are all the muddy frequencies that are just too loud, too prominent in the mix. The sub over here sounds like it's too loud and distorting. you can almost hear like noise and almost static. So just make sure we're not clipping, turn that sub down a little bit. This isn't the drop, so the sub can be a little bit quieter than the drop. Bass also sounds like it's clipping here. It's like muddy, sounds a little bit too loud. So even if it's not clipping, we just have to remove the mud and it's going to help all of this feel like it has space and room to breathe. That snare that happens, your clap snare, you can also do a high shelf on that too, increase more high frequencies on your snare and clap. That's also going to bring more clarity to the mix too. We are dancing to that snare the whole time, so it's going to be very important that that is prominent. I think that's about it. I love this song. I want it to be super clean and loud and finished, and I think it's people are going to freak out. It's very psychedelic, so just keep it up. Keep it up. I've been attacking those hertz like mad. Great to know that more need to go. This is precisely what I needed. All right, perfect, dude. I'm very glad I can help. Thank you guys for submitting your songs. I appreciate it. Submit your songs for the next stream. We let in about 15. Submissions are starting to close a lot sooner than they usually do. But if you guys enjoy this, please like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and hit me up if you have any questions regarding production. I'll be happy to help. You guys are the best. Thank you for the support and have a great fucking night. Keep it real, guys. I'll see you soon. Peace out.